On the news tonight, think Nigeria first. National Assembly leadership appeals to protesters to put off planned protests. Hope rises as news convenes stakeholders meeting. Plus, Senate moves to regulate domestic workers' practice in Nigeria. Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I am Ene Ojonugba. Describe it as duty call and you may not be wrong. The Senate and the House of Representatives simultaneously held emergency plenary on Wednesday to attend to critical national issues. These include repeal and reenactment of the 2024 Appropriation Act and adoption of resolution urging those calling for nationwide protests to give government more time to deliver on its mandate of improving the well-being of Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on the emergency plenary of the two chambers following their recall from recess.
After passing the amended 2024 Appropriation Act with an additional 6.2 trillion naira, this emergency plenary is to make adjustments in form of repeal and reenactment, which was done expeditiously, giving legal backing to the new budget figure totaling 35.055 trillion naira.
The sum of 13 trillion 773 billion 275 million 994,384 naira is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending 31st day of December 2024. Third reading taken and passed.
In the course of cleaning the bill, the Directorate of Legal Services observed some legal issues that require reconsideration.
The legislators also amended Section 38 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act to increase ways and means advances to the federal government from 5 to 10%.
Provide immediate funds to address budget shortfalls and finance essential government expenditure, to inject money into the economy, thereby stimulating economic activity and potentially creating jobs.
I would have suggested that we recouch it to read, borrowed funds shall be committed to critical sectors.
I have no hesitation in supporting the 10% and nothing more, and also restricting it to capital projects only.
Once this money is borrowed, with the improved revenue that we currently have, as we speak, the revenue generated to date is over 9 trillion naira.
What matters is that when we borrow, we repay. When we borrow, we repay. And we should put a timing for the repayment.
This large gathering of citizens' representatives as patriots adopted a motion urging those planning a national protest to have a rethink.
Despite the speculations in the social media that many senators had left the country. So I want to thank you for proving them wrong and continue to applaud you for your sacrifice and service to your fatherland. The Senate urges the protesters to give the government more time to address their demands, considering the measures being put in place to ameliorate the situation in the country, such as the National Minimum Wage Act, the sale of crude oil to local refiners in Naira, and the implementation of the Students' Loans Act.
During the emergency sitting, Senate paid tribute to Senator Ifeanyi, representing Anambra South, who died last Saturday.
By the soul of a very vibrant and young departed colleague, distinguished Senator Ifeanyi, rest in perfect peace.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The leadership of the National Assembly is restating its commitment in promoting responsive legislation and budgeting that will push for genuine policies to gender mainstreaming in the country. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, stated this in a message at the workshop organized by National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies for female members of the National and State Assemblies. Muhammad Rabiu Ali has details.
In line with the theme, the workshop focuses on legislative interventions in addressing the intractable challenges around gender equity and political participation.
I came to tell women that the National Assembly has got your back. We will continue to make laws that erase the imprints of gender inequality in our national consciousness.
When we thought that the new gender policy was already receiving attention from the government for improved participation of women in decision-making processes, the 2023 general election was a major setback.
The process does not involve creating separate budget for women or aim solely to boost spending on women program only. Instead, it helps government understand how they may need to adjust their priorities and reallocate resources to live up to their commitment to achieving gender equality and advancing women's rights.
As Nigeria continues to join the League of Countries making steady progress in gender equity, experts believe women must remain resolute and committed in playing critical roles beyond the legislation.
It's because of these gender-sensitive men, that's the reason why we have the level of gender equality. If they were not supporting us, we will not even arrive where we are.
We need to convince them that gender inclusion is not just about women. It is for national development.
We should commit ourselves to championing gender-responsive budgeting in our governments, communities. Let us advocate for budgets that prioritize equity, inclusiveness, and sustainability.
At the end of the workshop, stakeholders agreed that achieving set objectives requires collaboration by all key players in gender matters. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Senate is putting in place a legal framework to protect domestic workers and their employers. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the bill has passed second reading as the Committee on Labour collates inputs.
Stakeholders at a public hearing by the Senate Committee on Labour and Employment have expressed support on the bill that seeks inclusion of domestic servants in the national minimum wage.
The majority of the workers under this particular segment are in the informal sector. And then beyond that, they are mostly women. So therefore, they are vulnerable. Most of us are aware of nasty things that have happened, even either to the domestic worker or the employer of the domestic service.
We recommend that the bill provides for mechanisms and measures to assure the rehabilitation and reintegration of the affected underage, unpaid and abused domestic workers into appropriate educational care or vocational programs.
The bill also makes provision for the registration of domestic servants to protect both workers and employers. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Joining us now on the interview segment is the Chairman, Senate Committee on FEMA, Babangida Hussaini. Senator, what is the motive and intent of the bill?
I think it is in our collective interest. You have some very good best case scenario of employers training, sponsoring, and even taking very good care of their domestic help, even marrying them out, co-opting them into their family as their own family. We have some very good cases like that. We also have some very bad case examples of employers of labor abusing and maltreating and manhandling the domestic work that help. But in all of this, it is in our collective interest as employers of domestic help to make sure that this bill succeeds. It is in our collective interest. Now, I've just given you one example. One reported case, very popular case, is that of the female pilot I mentioned, Hadiza, from the Nigerian Airways that was murdered by her domestic staff. So it is in our collective interest to make it work, because securing our lives and property is our responsibility and is very paramount to whatever we do. So it doesn't cost you much, it doesn't cost you anything to ensure that you go through the agencies to recruit and to employ a trained nurse, you can rest assured that yes, this is a trained nurse that will be able to take care of my sick mom or sick dad or sick husband. It also helps you to have a trained nanny. A trained nanny you can rest assured that your child is in safe hands. But you can even remember there are some reported cases of even domestic help nannies running away with the babies of their employers. So the whole idea is to sanitize the sector, bring about regulations that will ensure that both sides, both interests are protected. The interest of the employer is protected by making sure that your domestic staff is properly documented and captured. And at the same time, the employee is also to make sure that his rights are protected. His rights to good life, his rights to earn a living, his rights to good water and sanitation facilities, his right to even the working hours he can spend in a day. These are all for the benefit of both sides of the divide, the employer and the employee. So it is for us to make it work.
With the 70,000 naira minimum wage, do you think engaging a domestic worker may be a challenge for low-income earners?
It's a choice. Nobody is saying you must employ a nanny. Nobody is forcing you to employ a domestic worker. The need is there, and the demand is there, and the supply is there. It is a choice for you to make. If you choose to go and patronize somebody from the village who is not trained, who has no basic knowledge of home management, and you bring him into your household, you don't even have his physiological history, his health, his family history, his genealogical history, whether he has some communicable diseases. It is a choice for you to make. If you choose to go and patronize and bring somebody that will perhaps even destroy your family or even create some, medical issues around your family, it is a choice for you to make. But what we are saying is it is for the betterment of everybody for us to sanitize this sector. It is a huge sector with a lot of opportunities. And nobody is saying that you must employ a domestic worker. Nobody is saying that. But it is in your best interest, if you have to employ somebody who is properly documented, somebody who is properly registered, somebody whose history you can be able to trace, somebody that you can actually ask the agency to make sure that, look, this man, his health condition must be known to me. There are communicable diseases all over the place. Hepatitis is there. And I can tell you, if you go to many households, we hardly ever have time to check the health history of the domestic workers we employ until a time comes when your family, your children are afflicted, and then you begin to do contact tracing and you discover that maybe it is from one form of megad or one form of domestic worker. So the point I'm trying to make is it is a choice. You can choose to go through the right channel and do the right thing. And it is also your choice not to do the right thing, but don't blame anybody, exactly, which is against the law. The national minimum wage law did not discriminate between formal and informal. It says national minimum wage law. So everybody is captured under the net of that particular law.
What is your impression of stakeholders going by their submissions at the public hearing?
Generally, the reception was massive. It was quite impressive, because it's new. It is something that is unprecedented. So it is something that everybody is like excited that something like this is coming up. And perhaps what we don't know, that sector alone can contribute greatly to the GDP of Nigeria. Many countries like Philippines practically depend on remittances from their domestic work, domestic staff they train and send abroad. It runs their economy. So the point we are trying to make is at the public hearing, there was so much excitement. Some stakeholders flew in from Lagos, from Port Harcourt, from Enugu to participate at the hearing. Yes, no law is permanent, no law is perfect. There are some gaps here and there which their presence had greatly contributed in raising some salient issues which we had not captured in the original draft of the bill. So I think by the time we are laying it on the floor of the Senate, all of those interests will be aggregated and then we'll have a law that will fit the demand of what we want to do.
Thank you, Senator Babangida Hussaini, for sharing your views with us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
We now take a short break. Please stay with us.
Are you looking for a short channel to make your business, goods and services go viral? Look no further, as NTA Parliament is your sure channel. Take advantage of our wider reach and advertise your products and services on NTA Parliament DSTV channel 370, GoTV channel 126, StarTimes channel 306, and Free TV channel 706. For more inquiries, contact the Marketing Department, NTA Parliament, NTA Headquarters Area 11 Garki Abuja, or call these numbers 080 383 40464 or 080 770 78055. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Thank you for staying with us. The House of Representatives has assured Nigerian universities of unwavering legislative support to carry out their learning activities in line with best global practice. Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on University Education, Abubakar Hassan Fulata, stated this during an oversight visit to federal universities in the northeastern zone of the country. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, was the first port of call by the committee where they scrutinized issues relating to 2023 budget performance.
Once the Constitution states that something should be done this way, it must be done that way. Otherwise, it will constitute gross misconduct.
I listened very carefully, and I have to appreciate the committee by the oversight functions. This shows that we have to be on our toes. You have to tell us the truth, and then we have to improve on what we are doing.
At the Federal University Kashere in Gombe State, the committee queries spending of some internally generated revenue by the university without appropriation.
What we budgeted for in 2021, the amount expended is more than what we have budgeted for. And you know the implications of this.
I have about 5 items here: electricity charges, maintenance of vehicles, security services. If you go through them, all of them, this one you propose 8 million, you spend 50 million. This one you propose 9 million, you spend 10 million. This one you propose 10 million, you spend 60 million.
If you see our budget in security going up, please bear with us, understand the nature of our location. So then for insurance, we have got some, by law, we must insure all our vehicles. And we have got one or two, or some few additional vehicles that we have to be paying. Then for capital release, so far we have not got any.
Management of Federal University Wukari, Taraba State was advised by the committee against lopsided recruitment of federal character.
Unfortunately, wherever a university is cited, members of the immediate community take advantage as if that federal institution belonged to that ethnic group or that state alone.
The committee's visit to the Modibo Adama University of Technology, Yola, was cut short as the Vice Chancellor was asked to report to the National Assembly for further hearing. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
The Bauchi State House of Assembly has received a motion on the matters of urgent public importance on the need for government to take measures on deplorable condition of the Ningi-Bura Road. The current condition of the road forces residents of the communities in the area to follow other routes to get to Bauchi, the state capital. Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Critical condition of the Ningi-Bura Road is said to be as a result of flooding and erosion, which is now requiring urgent government intervention in consideration of the amount of rain expected this year. More than 10 communities were listed by the member representing Burra constituency, Tanko Ibrahim, among many others that are facing various challenges due to the bad condition of the Ningi-Bura Road. They include Lungusa, Marke, Ruwandinya, Sabangida, and Gwandabi, where the major bridge on the road is said to be nearly broken.
This road could cut up and become unmotorable and impassable if something urgent is not done. I therefore request the Honorable House to urge the executive arm of government to carry out emergency repairs on the road.
Other engagements by the Bauchi State House of Assembly at the plenary include another motion calling on the executive arm to construct bypass road in Soro town by member representing Ganjua East constituency, Dayabuladen Mohammed. If constructed, the bypass is expected to reduce the amount of hold-up and traffic on market days, as well as providing more socio-economic development to the state. From the Bauchi State House of Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
The Taraba State House of Assembly has passed a bill for a law to repeal and reenact the state's education law and other matters connected. Correspondent Godwin Inaligwe reports that 2 other bills passed for second reading at plenary. The reports.
The Taraba State Education Law 2024 seeks to transform, restructure and reform the education policies that will make free, accessible and compulsory education system in the state. The law also seeks to enhance the implementation of education policy and management of institutions in the state to equip pupils and students with requisite knowledge. The House Standing Committee also held public hearing on the bill, where both oral presentations and written memoranda were received from relevant stakeholders towards its passage into law.
The Constitution forbids us promoting any religion. Nigeria is a secular state. So I think that these 2 sections is very important that we delete them, expunge them from this law.
Sections, the Christian and Muslim associations be deleted. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So, Madam Clerk, take note. This has been deleted.
Majority Leader of the House, Jethro Yakubu Zikenyu, raised the motion for the bill to be read for the 3rd time as directed by the Speaker, John Kizito Bonzena. The House subsequently passed the bill into law. In a related development, a bill for a law to amend the Taraba State House of Assembly Service Commission Establishment Law 2024 and for other matters connected therewith sailed through first reading at the plenary. Also sailed through first reading was a bill for a law to make provision for the Taraba State House of Assembly legislative forms management and other matters connected therewith. The 2 bills are being sponsored by the Speaker, John Kizito Bonzena, representing Zing State Constituency, and Peter Abel Dia, member representing Umbamga State Constituency at the Assembly. The House adjourned to reconvene Monday, August 5th, 2024 for plenary. From the Assembly, Godwin Inaligwe, NTA News.
The Cross River State House of Assembly has appealed to youths and residents in the state to dissociate themselves from the nationwide protest and allow the state's governor continue his task of rebuilding the state. This was during plenary as legislators promised to convince their constituents to shun the protests. Uduak Etim completes the report.
As Cross River State is yet to recover from massive destruction of the state infrastructure occasioned by the NSAS protest which took place some years ago, the Cross River State House of Assembly appealed to youths across the state to disassociate themselves from the planned protest built to commence on 1st August 2024, that the state government is deliberate in implementing policies with direct bearing on the people. The appeal came as the House deliberated on a matter of urgent public importance presented by member representing Abi State Constituency Davis Eta on the planned nationwide protest. The lawmaker maintained that even though the Constitution allows peaceful protest by citizens, past experiences have shown that such protests are sometimes hijacked by hoodlums who use the opportunity for looting and violence.
We are not taking the right away from them. We are only discouraging them to play with them so that we will not provide opportunity for people to come into the state and destroy their state.
Deputy Speaker, Cross River State House of Assembly, Sylvester Agabi, noted that Governor Tu has done a lot in 1 year in office and that the state cannot afford the vandalism that accompanied the NSAS protest, even as other members gave reasons for the youths to shun the planned protest.
Protest is not the best approach to solution. 1 year is too early for anybody to condemn a particular government. We just
Speaker, Cross River State House of Assembly, Elbert Ayambem, in his message read during plenary, advised the youths to say no to protest in the state.
The protest that leads to violence will not benefit us. They will only add to our challenges. Instead, let us seek dialogue with His Excellency our beloved Governor, Senator Prince Bassett, and address our grievances through proper channels.
And that's the size of our bulletin for this evening. For more updates, kindly follow NTA Parliament on the platforms showing on your screen. Thank you for staying with us and have a good evening. I am Ene Ojonugba. Bye for now.